today, when you hear about a lot of sexuality today, for a lot of people, they say it's going overboard with the
Mm,
with the with the level of nastiness that's happening
no
today.
such thing.
That's and that is the question I want to ask.
No such
Is
thing.
there a level that's going too far?
I believe in having boundaries. I believe in having safe words. A
Yeah,
safe word is where if you and your partner, let's say,
pineapple.
exactly, make it a color, a purple or something like that.
Yeah,
But I feel like there's no, you can never get too crazy in the bedroom if you're into that sort of thing.
yeah,
Now, if you're not, then yes, it is going to seem far fetched. It's going to seem crazy. But I feel like when you are open to having fun, safe fun,
yeah.
there's no such thing.
All right, so it's just say, hey, just stay away from the butt.
Right. There you go. You got to have your limits. Everybody got to have their limits and boundaries and respect, respect your partner and you're
Got you,
good to
got you,
go.
got you. Well, you know me, I'm in this holistic space of things, so I'm always looking at things from multiple perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the opportunities I got to live in India for a while, and while I was there, I got to study yoga and meditation. And one of the forms of yoga that I got to practice was Kundalini yoga.
Mm-hmm.
And they say that Kundalini energy is like a primal energy that represents the unmanifested power within us
Mm-hmm.
that sort of starts at the base of the spine and rises through the chakras up to the
Mm-hmm.
crown chakra. And I know that sounds really complicated, but we have this awakening
Mm-hmm.
that could happen. Or when I say awakening, I mean this enlightenment or this consciousness that we can
Right.
feel that energy rolling through our bodies.
Yes. Yes.
Now, what I'm thinking is that one of the things that I was taught when I was in India is that most people don't have the opportunity to experience this
Oh.
Kundalini awakening because they haven't been healed in their what is called the sacral chakra.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and your sacral chakra is connected to your creativity.
Mm-hmm.
It's connected to your sensuality, your emotions, your pleasures, your desires. What is it that is causing so many of us to be damaged and experience so much trauma in the sacral chakra in the areas of sexuality, those type of things? What are you
Such a
seeing
good
that's
question.
happening?
No one's ever asked me that question. Um, so one, I will say, let's start with the body, right?
Yeah,
The sex organ. I always compare it to, for people, it's like the heart, right? You got to take care of your heart,
yeah,
right? Cardiovascular. You got to work out. You got to eat healthy. Well, if you look at the foods that we're eating today,
yeah.
right? That's one that's blocking it,
Yep.
right? A lot of high cholesterol, diabetes. We have a lot of saturated fats.
Yeah.
We're not eating enough fiber. We're not having good protein. Um, Alcoholism, all of those different things. And then when you also look at, and a lot of the foods that we're eating too, to go on, because food is just so important.
Yeah.
I mean, the first thing I look at when somebody comes into my office is their diet.
Good.
And they're so surprised because they're like, wait, you're a psychiatrist. You're like a drug pusher, right? I'm like, yes and no. Only if you need it.
Yeah.
And so once we change your diet, I've seen a drastic change with a lot of my clients that I've had.
Yeah.
And so that's the first thing that's typically blocking it is their diet.
Gotcha.
Right? They have a very saturated, fatty diet.
Yep.
And then the next thing I'm looking at is, okay, let's look at your anxiety. Let's look at your depression, your stress. Where is it at? Because we all have it. But is it acute or is it chronic?
Yeah.
Because that's a huge difference.
Yeah.
So how can we assist you there? And sometimes I don't even like to prescribe medication for like antipsychotics and antidepressants because guess what? That also affects that.
It does.
People forget that yes, medication is great, but a lot of times you're going to have a side effect.
Yep.
And we don't know what it is until we prescribe the medication.
Yep.
And then we have to either titrate or take you off or switch you to a different medication, right? And a lot of men, certain medications affect their penis. For a lot of women, they experience vaginal dryness.
Yep.
So then you have that mental block, you have that what they're eating, the food,
Yep.
and then the sexual block.
Okay.
Because people aren't also in tune with their bodies. That type of yoga that you've done, I've studied that before, and I haven't made my way over to India.
Yeah.
But I did it in London with somebody that was teaching a Kama Sutra class.
Got you.
And we learned about mindfulness masturbation.
Yeah.
Which I was like, what? And it's very similar to what you learned with the yoga,
Yeah.
with the stretching and the releasing of the body, but you're just stretching different parts of your body.
Yeah.
Besides, you're stretching the genitals as well.
Yeah.
And so the blood flow, right? So one of the things that you mentioned, the reason why people have that blockage too, is their blood flow is blocked. Why is their blood flow blocked? Because of the foods they're eating.
Yeah.
So it's like a circle.
Yep.
Almost, if you think about
It's
it.
a cycle.
It's just a cycle.
Yeah. And what role does, I guess, trauma in the form of molestation or, seeing something, witnessing something, how often are you seeing that? Because I saw a statistic that 60% of African American women have experienced some form of molestation.
Yes. Yes. The numbers are high. And I feel like Black men, those numbers aren't accurate. I'm not sure what exactly the number is for Black men, but it's lower than Black women. But I feel like the only reason it's lower is because Black men don't report it.
Don't speak of it and don't consider it molestation.
Exactly. And we've all seen where celebrities have talked about, oh, I had sex at this age. And you're like, wait, that's really young.
Yeah.
How were you able to consent at 10 years old
Right.
or 11 years old? And they're laughing about it. And so that's trauma.
Yeah.
Because you could not have thought that was a great experience that young. You don't even know your body that young.
Yeah.
So trauma has a lot to do with it, because I think what happens in our community, and I don't think there's anything wrong. Let me make this disclaimer for people who attack me.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with praying and going to church and believing that there's a higher power. But I think that you have to realize you can't pray away trauma.
Yeah, you got to heal it.
You actually have to heal it, and you have to grow as a person, and you have to actually take steps to heal yourself. And so I feel like a lot of times what happens is when women have experienced molestation or trauma, and men as well, they repress it, meaning that they just allow it to kind of fester inside them. And then they're wondering why they're having a dysfunctional sex life, or they're wondering why they always crave lots of sex. And then even though they're craving lots of sex, it's not the type of sex that's healthy.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because they're not having an actual connection with somebody.
Yeah.
They're just trying to fill a void.
Yeah. And so then that sort of creates the idea that I share with people, is that our traumas live in our bodies.
Yes. Oh, yes.
So if you have an issue where, you've been molested, or maybe you felt a situation where you had sex with somebody who you thought later, maybe I shouldn't have had sex with them, or you just felt like at the end, I felt like garbage at the end of it. A lot of times that trauma can live in the body. And so when you have this type of trauma, it can live in the sexual
sex
organs.
is an energy exchange. I tell people that all the time. Like, that's why it's crazy to me. I'm all for, having fun and living life how you see fit. But if you think about it, if you're engaging in sexual activity with multiple different energies, you're not always going to have good energy with people. Right. And that's why I ask people, I'm like, do you feel drained after you have sex?
Yeah.
Do you have you ever felt depressed after you had sex?
Okay.
Because you just had sex with someone, I'm not going to say they're a demon, but
maybe a vampire.
Right. You just had sex with someone that probably wasn't in a healed, growing space in their life.
Yeah.
Because honestly, after sex, you're going to feel a little bit tired, but you should feel energized within your soul. Okay. And that's how you know if you're having sex with the right or wrong person.
Gotcha.
Feel afterwards.
Man, I want to share these 10 surprising benefits of sex.
Yes.
Okay. Release stress by releasing endorphins and other hormones that boost mood.
Serotonin, dopamine, yes.
There you go. Improves women's bladder control.
The pelvic floor, yes. Yep. It is amazing. And that's why, ladies, do your Kegels, especially after you have a baby. And even before you have a baby, a lot of women talk about they feel like after they had a baby, you can throw a hot dog. And I'm like, it's because your vagina is a muscle, ladies. Do those Kegels before you have the baby, after you have the baby. It's a muscle. Work that pelvic floor. And then you won't laugh and have a leakage.
Gotcha. Lowers blood pressure.
Yes.
Counts as exercise.
Oh, heck yeah. You burn a lot of calories.
Reduces pain. Even vaginal stimulation without an orgasm has been shown to reduce back and leg pain and reduce menstrual cramps.
They were saying, there was a study done by Sexual Health Medicine, and they were saying that if you are experiencing something painful, like let's say you are getting stitches and you think about the person that you love, it reduces your pain tolerance by 25 to 35%.
Oh, so we know where to put our thoughts.
Exactly.
Improves sleep,
Absolutely.
reduces stress and anxiety, creates a glowing, younger skin, can possibly reduce prostate cancer risks, and may delay menopause for women.
Yes, those are all correct.
Okay.
Those are all correct.
All right.
Certified.
Now,
Research has been done.
With all of these benefits, why aren't more people having sex? And the reason why I'm asking is, they say that 33% of men are sexless.
I believe it.
So why aren't people who are actually married
Having sex.
having sex?
So with marriage, I feel like it gets a little bit tricky, right? Because one, like we talked a little bit about earlier, is that sense of routine is there.
Yeah.
Two, then you have kids, right? When you have kids in the mix,
Yeah.
that I mean, a lot of the couples that come to me that have children, their sex lives have declined significantly because of children. They're trying to figure out how to schedule it. And then as women, we're tired,
Yeah.
right? Because a lot of times, even though I'm sure both parties are sharing, the household and the responsibilities, as women, a lot of times kids want their mom
Yeah.
more than anybody. And so what happens is with women, we're working, we're taking care of the kids, and we're trying to take care of our husbands or boyfriends.
Yeah.
And so I think that for women, sex has become lower on the list because it's like, well, I'm not even getting an orgasm.
Yeah.
So why would I put out tonight when I know, that you're not going to take the time to actually please me?
Gotcha.
And I think for men, that's also frustrating because the men that come to me, they want to please their wives.
Yeah.
And I tell them, I said, listen, if you're looking at it from an educational standpoint, women and men have two different cycles when they have sex.
Yeah.
So women are acyclic, which means it takes more. We have a longer list of things that we need. We need intimacy. We need foreplay. We need candles. We need touch. We need that pleasure mapping. We need for you to tell us that we're beautiful.
Yeah.
It takes a woman almost 45 minutes to go through all that cycle. But y'all are done by then.
Yeah.
It really takes men.
Maybe.
The average man, unless you're in tip-top peak shape, most men do not last more than 10 minutes.
Really?
And you guys don't need as much.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Your pleasure cycle is a lot different.